to the Paper Snob. This is Tara. Today I am working on Scraplift Crafternoon. This is a hop that I host here on my channel each Sunday afternoon. The hop was originally created by Kimberly and Anna. Anna is from Peace Craft Love, and Kimberly is from I'd Rather Be Scrapbooking. So I am going to be, or we are going to be scraplifting Miss Carrie's creations. I will have her information down below so that you can check out her Instagram account, and if she has a YouTube, it'll be down there as well. There's also a weekly playlist for your viewing pleasure, just to make it easier for you to see all of the videos in one location. And Miss Carrie is designing for Not Just for Boys Kit Club, and I don't have any of the stuff that she is using, but I have pulled out my August counterfeit kit product. The only thing I added in here was some sequins because Miss Carrie has sequins on her page. I'm going to change things up just a tad because I have two photos that I'm going to use. I am desperately trying to finish my May 2016 album. I'm very, very close. And so I've pulled out all these papers here to play with, as well as a bunch of other things. So I'm going to go ahead and pause this video. We're going to get started, and I will be right back. So I took the time to mat my two photos of smudge off camera, and I'm going to put them on a single mat, a gray mat, which is a piece of cardstock from my August kit, and I'm just going to kind of set them on that mat a little bit wonky. I like wonky. Wonky's my style. So anyway, I am going to be tearing down the strips of paper. Now, this particular piece of paper is from My Mind's Eye, and I put it into my kit for the beautiful hexagon side, not the grid side, but I needed a grid style, or if I wanted to mimic Carrie's layout as closely as I wanted to, I needed a grid. Again, my papers are not the same as Miss Carrie's, but I think that this is going to work out very well. Here is the cardstock that I used to do a larger mat of the kitty cat photos. And I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to use my tearing ruler and I'm going to tear it. I love that this cardstock has a white core. It just means that I will be able, you'll really be able to see that tearing in the layers on my layout. This particular cardstock, it just reminded me of the like yellowish gold that Carrie had showing through her layers on her layout, and so I just wanted to get that in here. This piece of paper is from a paper pad, and it's actually glossy, or at least the leaves are glossy, almost like somebody heat embossed the entire sheet of pattern paper. And it is, like I said, from a paper pad. And this hexagon piece here is from a paper pad as well. Now I threw in this, it's not a wood grain, but it's, you know, basically a photo of some stack of cut wood. And I threw that in here because she had some other little bits and pieces peeking through hers. I'm not sure if I'm going to actually use those on the layout, but I did go ahead and trim them down so that I could if I chose to. All right, now I'm going to go ahead and start building these layered borders. They are going to go on the top and bottom of my layout, of course, and I'm just kind of stacking them together because I didn't really pre-plan how the layers were going to fit together. I did have to kind of just make them peek in there a little bit. And I'm going to tear this notch just like Carrie has on her layout. And I'm going to go ahead and cut down a piece of this hexagon by hand. And I'm going to just kind of stick it in there and just make it look like there's all of that other layering in there. It works out very well. Miss Carrie has some machine stitching on her layout, and honestly, I have not unpacked my sewing machine just yet, and so I am going to hand stitch on this layout, but I will only be hand stitching on the layout where you can see it once the layout is done, which means I'm only going to hand stitch along probably this top border. I don't think I do any hand stitching on the bottom at all. So my layers didn't get glued together evenly, and that's okay. I'm going to go ahead and get this glued to the top of this text paper. I really love this text paper, and a little disappointed it's in a paper pad because I would love to go and just buy several more sheets of just that text paper. But I have another sheet, I believe, in the paper pad, and it'll be fine. I can use that at another time. So I'm going to go ahead and build this layered border for the bottom of the layout, and it ends up being pretty wide. Carrie didn't have evenly spaced borders top and bottom on hers either, and so I'm just going to kind of do some more tearing here so that I can poke in some more of that hexagon paper. Like I said, I don't think I actually get the pile of wood pattern paper on here at all, so it's kind of a shame that I cut it apart, but I can use it on other layouts. There's plenty of other outdoorsy style layouts that I can use that on, but I'm just sticking this down in here. So she has a lot of her pattern that she chose for this sticking in and out, and I realize that it's not all the way on the bottom. Like you can see that little sliver above the top layers there, and that's going to be okay because my photo is going to go there, and you're really just not going to be able to tell that I did that. So I'm going to go ahead and get this photo on here. I'm going to add this piece of fun foam so that I have the ability to do some tucking and layering if I choose to. I do love to layer on my layouts, and this is I'm going to tuck this photo just a little bit underneath these layers, just so that I don't cover up a whole lot on the bottom. I realize that I am using a lot more real estate on this layout than Carrie did on hers, and so now I'm just kind of trying to make up for that a little bit. She had this heartbeat cut file. Hers had headphones, mine has a kitty because I'm scrapbooking about our kitty. He is pretty old in this photo, and if you guys know me personally, you know that we lost this kitty this past spring. And we miss him very, very much. She had some film strips, tucked underneath her photo, and I have film strips. I could absolutely grab them. But in my August kit, I had those acrylic or acetate frames in it, and I hadn't used them yet, and honestly, they are the last bits in that pack of frames and ephemera that it's from Basic Gray. They're very old, and I have had them in several of my counterfeit kits over the years, and so I wanted to use them up. So instead of dragging out my film strip frames, I pulled those out, and I've got those used up here on the layout. Now the black and cream roses that are on this layout are fussy cut from another piece of pattern paper in my August counterfeit kit, and I just have kind of a stack of them left over. One night I just sat and cut the entire paper down so that they would be ready for me to grab and use during the month. Now that little I don't know what you call it. It's a piece of chipboard with a 15 on it. I pulled it out because I really just wanted to use it. The 15 has nothing to do with the layout, but I thought it would make a good base for a cluster. And so what I'm doing is I'm kind of just layering things around. I had this simple, or not simple stories, Pink Fresh Studio notebook page with a pencil, and I'm going to use that as part of my cluster, and I stuck a circle on top of it, and I off camera had stapled a Heidi Swap acetate star on it with my tiny attacher from Tim Holtz. Now I'm pulling out some of the little phrase pieces that I chose to use on this layout, and I pulled out a chipboard star. I have hearts and stars on this layout. So I have at least 2 stars and at least 2 hearts. And I get that you're probably supposed to use like an odd number, but you know what? It's my page. I'm going to use what I want on it. And so I just did 2 of each. And of course, there's the heartbeat cut file down below. Let's talk about that a little bit. It is from the Silhouette Studio Design Store. And I cut 3 of them and I stacked them. And I like to do that with cut files, stack them up, because it gives them a little bit of depth and adds a little bit more texture to your layout. If you know me, you know I love texture on my pages. Now I'm taking this old Mr. Huey's spray, and I'm doing some of the splatters like Miss Carrie had on hers. I will go in, and I believe I do this part off camera. I use another color from Mr. Huey's. I think it's called Dark Calico. It's a very, very dark brown, and I add a few more sprinkles to it later, but like I said, I think I do that off camera. So now I have everything mostly glued down, and I've done the hand stitching. You can kind of see that along the top there. I did use a white thread, a white embroidery floss for that. And like I said, I did not stitch along that bottom border like Miss Carrie had on hers. And basically that was because I knew that I had it covered up, and I just didn't want to waste my time trying to put something on there that you really couldn't see. So I'm going to add these sequins. These sequins were part of a design team project that I got, I think, in 2022. And I haven't used them all yet, and so I wanted to get them on a page because they're fairly neutral. They've got a little bit of pink in them, kind of like my page has a little bit of pink in it, and I thought they worked perfectly for this layout just to give it a little bit of sparkle. Alright, I got my layout completely done. I am pretty happy with the way that this turned out. I used several papers from my August counterfeit kit. I realize it is September and we do have new kits on the blog today, and which means I'll be using a new kit here pretty soon. But I am happy to have used a little bit more of my August kit. It saves me from having to put it all away at the end of the month. I want to thank you for coming to my channel today. I really appreciate those of you who take the time to like, comment, and or subscribe to my channel. Without your help, I can't grow this channel, and I am very grateful to you. Make sure that you check out that description box below. Again, there are links to our Instagram accounts where you can see some of the other work that we do. And there is also this week's playlist, so make sure that you check that out. And you guys have a great rest of your Sunday. Bye.